In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how to improve your testosterone. So let's dive on into it. And for those of you who are new to this, it's very easy to think testosterone, steroids, you know, from a baseball guy like me, I'm like, oh, that was the steroid era for guys who see people at the gym. You're like, oh, that's the big Arnold Schwarzenegger type guys. Everyone needs testosterone. So we're going to break into what is it? Why is it important for health and fitness? Symptoms of low testosterone, and then break down a bunch of different factors on how it can impact you or how you can improve it, when to get labs, action plans, and takeaways. So, high level, it's the primary male hormone. Testosterone is part of the androgen group. It's made in the testes for men. It's also made in the ovaries for women, but in smaller amounts. It's also found in the adrenal glands in both sexes. And so you'll see it referred to as the male sex hormone. For women, that's going to be estrogen. Why it's important. Muscle growth. Number one, that's probably the one that you're most familiar with. It binds to androgen receptors and activates muscle protein synthesis. From a fat loss standpoint, it inhibits fat cell formation, releases stored fat from adipose tissue, and improves insulin sensitivity. That insulin sensitivity one is one that is super important, especially for people that are struggling with insulin resistance. Mood and motivation through dopamine and serotonin regulation. Dopamine is the chemical that is released when you are anticipating a reward. Serotonin is the one that says, this feels good. This is happiness. And you obviously want more of those. It has an inverse relationship with cortisol, meaning as cortisol goes up, testosterone comes down. Whereas when you reverse it, cortisol goes down, testosterone comes up. And then it also acts on the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that's a big component in fight or flight, or that really stress response system. Libido and sexual health. So it activates a region of your brain that generates sex drive. The idea that, man, I want to ignite my lightsaber and get on with my significant other, right? Very important there. It increases dopamine. Again, that perceived future reward. Indirectly supports erections and sperm count as well. So if you're trying to have kids, it's important for fertility. Energy levels enhances mitochondrial biogenesis and efficiency. That's a big way of just saying that it helps give you more energy. Red blood cell production is going to be something that is important for transporting oxygen throughout your body. Bringing it back to that mitochondrial biogenesis, the mitochondria, as you have heard, is the powerhouse of the cell. So that's very important for the cells. And then we got insulin sensitivity, and then as well, reduction in cortisol and increase in dopamine. You're going to start to see a natural decline at age 30. So signs that it might be low. One, low energy or motivation. You'll see this so many times with people who aren't exercising, who aren't in a good routine. They got low energy, they're not motivated, but they actually have motives. They want to make a change. They want to be healthier. They don't like what they see in the mirror. But if your testosterone's low, it's kind of one of those what came first, the chicken or the egg thing. Testosterone, per this study, basically talked about how people want to improve their status. They want to be seen as more confident. They want to see themselves as more capable. They want to get promoted. All these different status seeking things, whether it's body composition, progressing in your career, having certain activities or friends or connections, whatever that is, people with higher testosterone sought out more of those activities. So if you're like, oh, I'm not motivated to improve my lot in life, might be a lack of testosterone. Increased belly fat. Testosterone suppressed lipoprotein lipase activity in visceral fat, increased fat turnover in the abdomen, and significantly reduced visceral fat mass, while the control groups did not. So the more testosterone you have, the more you're going to be able to decrease belly fat and really burn through it. Symptoms. Reduced strength or muscle. A 2022 study found that low testosterone is tightly associated with sarcopenia, which is something that, especially as you get older, you only have so much muscle. And as you get older, the body is going to slowly start to break that down. Think of it as almost like a 401k or retirement plan. So you want to build that up as much as possible and then maintain that as long as possible. TRT has been shown to increase both muscle mass and strength in older men. Then you got brain fog, right? Talked about the body and the muscle. Well, what about the brain? Brain fog, mood swings. Meta-analyses of 16 randomized placebo-controlled trials found significant mood-enhancing effects when testosterone is added from the outside in men under 60. And then a study of 86 men found that those with anxiety or depressive symptoms were significantly more likely to have low testosterone. Then we've got low libido. Libido scores were significantly associated with serum testosterone. Each 1 point rise in libido corresponded with an increase. So, game plan to improve testosterone. We covered all the reasons why it's important. How do you boost it? Well, let's go and adjust. Number one, training, then sleep, nutrition, body composition, which is different than nutrition because you can have good nutrition but still have excess body fat, then environment and supplements. So, strength training. Lift weights, lift weights, lift weights, lift weights, lift weights. Resistance training is so important for this, specifically compound movements, squat, deadlifts, lunges, hip thrusts, presses, and rows. Those are your compound movements that you will do, whether it's with a barbell, dumbbell, body weight, kettlebell, you name it, you should be doing those 3 to 5 times a week. If you're following the workouts, maybe on my channel and their little trooper workouts, you can do 5 of those 10 times a week. If you're going to the gym and you're lifting heavier, you're able to recover more, you might do 3 to 5 times a week of 75 minutes. But the big thing is just to start somewhere and try to progressively get heavier. An RPE of 7 plus means that you're 3 reps away from failure, and spend some time in the lower rep ranges. This could be 1 or 2 rep maxes, but just to make sure that you're doing it safely, a 3 rep max, a 4 rep max, a 5 rep max, and lifting in that 6 to 12 rep range, which is going to be more consistent with hypertrophy, is going to be a great way to really focus on lifting heavier weights, getting stronger. It's going to stimulate growth hormone and testosterone when you do that. Then you have cardio training. High intensity interval training is going to be superior to just long runs. Not that there's anything wrong with being a marathon runner or someone that does endurance cardio activities, but a 40 on 20 off or a 30 on 30 off general fitness. Again, you're going to see that a lot on the workouts on my fitness channel. But a big thing here is just avoid trying to outtrain a bad diet or trying to just run and always being in that chronically stressed state. You're never going to really see big, huge runners. Why is that? Well, one, the more weight you have on your meat wagon, the harder it is to run for an extended period of time. It takes more energy, it's harder. But two, being in a chronically stressed state is going to keep cortisol elevated. Cortisol is catabolic. That means it breaks tissue down. As the testosterone is anabolic, it builds tissue up. So if you're just doing a bunch of high levels of or high stress, low, you know, long duration cardio inputs, again, just saying, all right, I'm going to go for a run an hour every single day, that is going to decrease testosterone. Study here, results only hit significantly increase resting total testosterone. 20% increase while endurance training had no effect. Stress management. Sleep is non-negotiable. This is the most important thing, I would say, for in addition to strength training for testosterone. You just can't get around it if your sleep is trash. 7 to 9 hours is optimal, but really also consider your circadian rhythm. If you're getting 7 to 9 hours, but you're staying up till 2 a.m., that is not as ideal as 6 to 7, but you're going to bed at 6, waking up at 4. Testosterone peaks during deep sleep, so about 60 to 70% of it is going to occur at night, primarily during the first half of your sleep cycle. You miss that sleep cycle when you stay up super late. When you're drinking, we'll touch on that a little bit later, but alcohol disrupts your circadian rhythm, which is why alcohol is one of the worst things you can have for your testosterone. It's not to say don't drink, but just know that alcohol has a negative relationship with helping you build testosterone. That's what leads to the beer gut. That's what leads to the man boobs, specifically because it eventually gets converted into estrogen. And we won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but peak testosterone levels occur during REM and deep sleep and rise steadily throughout the night. So tips for sleep, make it dark, make the room cold. We want to really kind of create the cave that we would have slept in thousands of years ago when our bodies were not designed, but essentially that's how our bodies have not been updated to how society lives now, right? That's something to really take into consideration. Our screens and our schedules, that's all new in the last 100 years. Human bodies have not changed for thousands of years. And so the more we can make it dark, cold, right? No screens before bed and in a consistent schedule, the easier it is going to be for the circadian rhythm in the cells to all get into a regular cycle. So stress management, cortisol, as I mentioned, has a negative relationship with or inverse relationship with testosterone. Cortisol is catabolic, breaks energy down. Testosterone is anabolic. It builds tissue, bones, organs. Things that you can do to reduce stress is going to include breath work, meditation, cold showers, nature breaks, getting out, touching grass, not sitting at your desk playing video games all day, creative activities. I'm one of the few people that I know that is going to encourage you to build Lego, to paint, to do puzzles. Why? Because that is a activity that you're going to do that is meditative, but it keeps you present and keeps you engaged. Whereas if you're just sitting back and being passively entertained by TV and video games, that's not a creative activity. And so you're more likely to have a down regulation of everything when you're in a playful state. And again, playful state is the opposite of a stressful state. So if we can get in a playful, restful state, that is as opposite side of the spectrum as you can get to cortisol. And with breath work, a couple tips there. Try and focus on longer exhales than inhales. So you might do a 2 second in, a 3 second exhale pattern, 2 seconds in, exhale, 3 seconds out. And that can be expanded to a 4 and a 6. It can be expanded to a that would be a 10-second cycle. You can do like 7 seconds in, 10 seconds out, 3 second hold. Like you can do all sorts of really long versions of this when you're meditating to really down regulate your heart rate. It could be done after a workout, after a stressful meeting, in between meetings, after an argument with your significant other. Big thing is you want to bring that nervous system down. Longer exhales than inhales. All right, so getting into the nutrition. So I'm going to touch on supplements, but where you can get these supplements naturally from your diet. So zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, and healthy fats. So red meat, pumpkin seeds, spinach, almonds, sun, egg yolks, olive oil, avocados, chia seeds. So just to like think about a meal plan, what I actually did is created a meal plan down here in a second. But your red meat and your olive oil and yeah, red meat and olive oil and avocado, like that could be your dinner. Then you could throw some chia seeds with almonds and uh, a protein shake with some spinach, and there's your breakfast, and then some egg yolks, pumpkin seeds, and go out and get some sun. Like you're checking off all these supplements with just a simple standard meal or a couple meals in your day. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Macros are going to matter too. So 20% or more. Don't cut your fats too low because they play a really crucial role in hormones specifically. Cholesterol plays a role in fat production. Diets that are too high or too low in fat or high in omega 6s, polyunsaturated fats may suppress testosterone. So aim for a balanced whole food intake, 25 to 40% of your total calories to support healthy hormone levels. Um, Balanced protein muscle, obviously, for a balanced protein intake for your muscle and hormones as well. And then carbs also help with training and recovery. Carbs are especially important for training and strength training, both pre and post. They help improve insulin sensitivity. And so that's going to be something that you don't want to avoid entirely either. So coming down the line for a specific meal, you've got nutrition. So breakfast, 3 whole eggs. Then you've got some grass-fed butter, avocado, berry, sourdough toast. 25 grams, 30, 20. It's going to be a good source of cholesterol there. Then for lunch, you could have a grilled steak salad, add some greens, obviously, some nuts, some seeds, quinoa, an avocado. And so then you're going to be checking off your protein, fat, carbs, some zinc, monounsaturated fats, saturated fats, fibers, and minerals. Boom, checking that off. Then for dinner, have some salmon with some vegetables and rice, getting some omega-3s, some antioxidants, as well as a balanced macro profile, and then a protein shake. This one you can load up, get as much protein in as you need, as well as some omega-3s, cholesterol, and zinc, and then bang, you've hit your protein target. This is probably about 2,200 calories right here, 2,400. Obviously, you can scale it up or down based on serving size, but that right there is going to be something that helps improve your testosterone. Uh, on the flip side, things you want to avoid: ultra processed foods, refined sugars, alcohol. I talked about this one. A 2024 meta analysis showed that alcohol consumption overall is related to significant reduction in circulating concentrations of total testosterone. Mechanisms include direct Leydig cell toxicity, increased estrogen, oxidative stress, and HPG, HPA axis disruption. That's your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands not working as they should. Then you've also got soy and seed oils in excess. So those are all going to crush testosterone. Now, nutrition is important. But we've also got to just make sure that we get the excess weight off of you. That means being in a calorie deficit. So getting lean is going to help boost your testosterone. For a body weight reduction, altering the BMI from a 30 to 25, the effect would be equivalent or equal to a 13% increase in serum testosterone. Aim to lower your visceral fat. You can get that checked via a DEXA scan. I covered that on my YouTube channel. And then fat cells turn testosterone into estrogen. So the more fat cells you have, the more that conversion is taking place. Then you've got your environment. This is a small one that gets overlooked a lot, but you can really disrupt your endocrine system with BPAs and scented products. So a large study of US men found that urinary BPA concentration was inversely associated with total and free testosterone. So the higher that number was, the lower your total and free testosterone was. So use glass containers, fragrant-free products, and filtered water as opposed to plastic bottles, bunch of products with fragrances, and you're going to be able to check the boxes off there. Then from a supplement standpoint, vitamin D3, I like aiming for 5,000 IU a day. But really, this is going to be a drop in the bucket if your lifestyle isn't solid. So quick caveat there. But vitamin D3, zinc, magnesium, ashwagandha is going to help metabolize and lower stress, cortisol specifically. And then Tongkat Ali is another one that research is potentially emerging for. Testing your testosterone. So we're going to put the test in testosterone. Get labs if symptoms are present. If you're over 30 and you feel like trash, definitely get this checked. You're going to be much more aware of what your things that you need to focus on if you have data. And so you want to make sure you get your total and free T. Total, about 98% of it is bound by sex hormone binding globulin. It's a mouthful, but basically you want to look at your T3 and it should be between 2.8 and 4. And potential issues could be that, yeah, you have total testosterone that's high, but you have a low free T3. So your body doesn't have the ability to use it. Maybe you're high in sex hormone binding globulin. Maybe you're high in iron. Maybe you need to look into blood donation. There's a lot of different things that can be the root, but you want to get your free T as high as possible. Also get your estradiol checked, which is going to give you your estrogen numbers. And then use TRT as a last resort. It's not to say don't use it, but again, if you're eating like trash, drinking a bunch, not exercising, you're obese, TRT is only going to be able to do so much. You can't fill a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. So to recap, your testosterone boosting checklist: strength train 3 to 5 times a week, sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, eat nutrient rich whole foods, ditch plastics and processed food, get sunlight daily, reduce stress as much as you can, manage it with stress reducing activities. Consider supplements, consider TRT if that makes sense, but start with one change, focus on that, and you'll see incremental improvements over time.